Hi, everyone. Claudia McMullen here from Hugo Coffee Roasters, founder in Hugo's Human. As I'm sure you know by now, I'm sure everybody knows by now who are fan bases from the fan base of Hugo, but we're going to introduce ourselves to a new organization today. But Hugo Coffee has fundraisers every single week of the year benefiting a particular animal rescue around the country. And we donate $2.50 for every item sold on the website during the course of the week, benefiting a particular rescue. And the reason we do this is because, as a former ED of an animal rescue, I know that the work of animal rescue is done by the thousands of such organizations like the great one we're going to talk to today. And I want our donation to have an immediate impact on the lives of animals, because that's why we're here. So anyway, today we are with the lovely Wendy of the organization Touch of Gray, located in Florida. Hi, Wendy. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you, Claudia?
Excellent. Now, Wendy, tell us about Touch of Gray. How
Sure.
long has it been around? The area you service, your mission, those kinds of things.
Touch of Gray Rescue was established in 2019. In fact, we're coming up on our 4-year anniversary on February 11th. And we were established really with a mission to help save It started with just senior dogs, and we've kind of morphed into special needs and medically complicated younger dogs as well. But basically how it started, I started volunteering at our local shelter, walking dogs, and, very soon realized how many older dogs were just laying on cement floors and behind kennels and arthritic and needing some medical attention. So obviously it's hard to see any dog in a kennel, but it just was that much harder seeing the older ones. So I started taking them home to foster and find new homes. I'd been involved in rescue for many years. I've fostered hundreds of dogs. And so it was a natural kind of progression from volunteering at the shelter to taking them home. I was working with another local foster-based rescue. And then realized, there's a lot of senior dogs and there isn't a senior rescue here in Brevard County, Florida. So I ended up starting Touch of Gray Rescue with a couple of the other volunteers at the shelter, and it just grew from there.
And so now two questions, two follow-ups. One, why elders? And two, where do you find your rescues, the dogs that you are rescuing?
So the reason elders, we moved down here with our older dogs. So we came from upstate New York. We traveled to Florida. We established ourselves here. We had fostered hundreds of, puppies and younger dogs when our dogs were growing up. And then when we got here and we got into our own home, it was about a 2-year process. Our dogs became much less tolerant of that young puppy energy. So I noticed when I gravitated back to my usual, which was a younger foster dog bringing in, they weren't having it. So when that, and combined with my experience at the shelter, seeing all the older dogs, it was like a light bulb, like, okay, my dogs do well with old dogs. There's a lot of old dogs that need help. And so that's why it came to be. And since then, I will tell you that my heart is with the seniors. I mean, my heart's always been with all animals, but really starting this rescue has opened it up even that much more to, some of these older dogs, and just providing them care at that time in their lives that they needed the most.
So I used to have this idea in my head, because I don't know why, but I had this idea in my head that, everybody who dumps their elder dog at a rescue is by definition a jerk.
Yeah.
And I have come to not believe that any longer.
I agree.
Given what has happened in the world with COVID, with inflation, with all the issues going on, and lots of people just can't afford to keep their beloved pet through their natural lives because they can't afford the medical care, they can't afford to feed them, whatever's going on in their lives. And they're not jerks.
Right.
They're people who loved an animal until they could no longer. This is how I choose to now think about it.
I agree.
They love their animal until they no longer could afford to love their animal.
Yes.
And they're doing the best they can under their circumstances.
100%. We see a lot of that. And, we always take, the positive, no judgment road, because really it's not about what happened or who did what. It's about this animal, this time,
Right.
how can we get them healthy and happy,
Right.
and we move forward. But speaking to that, yeah, there are some jerks out there, right,
Oh,
that
yes.
don't do the right thing.
Oh, yes.
But I agree with you. The overwhelming majority are people who are doing the best with what they know and what they have. And not too long ago, I went out to pick up a 12-year-old Labrador who had lived with his homeless man for many years. And he finally got to the point where he was homeless, but he was occupying an abandoned building that he was getting kicked out of. And he finally realized, I can't keep this dog anymore. It was heartbreaking, he wasn't a jerk. Now, the dog was not well cared for because he couldn't afford proper veterinary care,
Sure.
But that doesn't make him a jerk. He would tell me stories about how he let his dog lay in the cement in the heat, and he would lay, on the grass. So I agree. There's just a lot of unfortunate circumstances out there, and a lot of it has to do with the finance and medical care.
100%. So now tell me about your geographic reach, and where do you rely on like a few rescues to pull the elders from, or is how big is your network of places from which you are pulling elders?
So we started pulling from our local Brevard County. It's called South Animal Care Center. It's a sheriff-run shelter.
Mm-hmm.
It is not an open intake, and it is a no-kill shelter.
Oh,
which is great. And, what we have gravitated towards is those high priority, in danger of euthanasia dogs at those kill shelters. So while we do support our local shelter, and we support them quite a bit, I think we've taken 10 dogs from them the past month or so. But we also take a lot from Orange County Animal Services, which is in Orlando, and that is an open intake shelter. They have 50 animals that can be dropped off at any given day, and they have to take them. So they will euthanize for space. And as well as I do, the ones that get euthanized are the older ones, the medically complicated ones, and also some of the behavioral ones as well.
Sure.
We also pull from Palm Beach County,
Uh-huh.
Hillsborough County, Tampa Bay region.
Okay.
And so we're expanding. We pulled from Miami-Dade a couple of times as well. But there is no shortage of dogs.
No,
So
I know.
we don't have to go very far. Yeah.
No, you don't have to change. You don't have to expand out of the state. You've got first of all, you have a very populated state.
Right. Yes. And one of those that are, on the best friends network of the states that they need to, work with to get towards that national no kill rate, because Florida, Texas, there's a few of states just like ours that are high in that number, unfortunately.
Right. And you have elders. Your population's older.
Yes.
Older people tend to have older dogs and older pets.
Correct.
So that makes total sense. Now, are you a foster-based organization? You don't have a brick and mortar presence?
Correct. And I don't think we ever will, to be honest with you, because, and I actually took a trip out to Best Friends Animal Society because I thought, gosh, I would love to have, a brick and mortar place to help more animals. But you know what? Again, our mission is to get these dogs out of shelters.
Yes, exactly. And the elders don't do well in a rescue.
No.
Because they know they were dumped by their owners.
Yeah.
They know they were dumped by the people they love. And a foster provides at least temporary reprieve, or at least gives them some love, and a human with them all the time. So they might not feel as lonely and abandoned.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So I don't think we'll ever get to that brick and mortar or, shelter or even sanctuary. We might have a brick and mortar, educational center,
or
adoption center.
Or a place there you can raise funds for Touch of Gray, but not an adoption center.
Correct. Well, an adoption center, but not not where they live there, not a shelter. Yeah.
Yes. So tell me about George, who is in your lap right now.
George.
Hi, George.
So we just picked this guy up 2 days ago from the Orange County shelter. We got a desperate plea, one of those 911. We have a dog that we're going to have to euthanize if we can't find a rescue for. He was found on the side of the road, emaciated, can't stand, can't barely lift his head up. And so we went and got him, and we never know what we're getting ourselves into, but I am happy to say that after some fluids, he's had fluids for 2 days straight now. He's eating voraciously. I got to slow him down and not overfeed him because his poor little body has not had food in quite a while. But he has done a complete 180, and I have no doubt he's going to be fine in no time. He's already fine.
Fantastic. I love that. Now, tell me, now I know you've been around for almost 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So how many animals have you helped find their new forever homes? They're aging dogs that have found their new forever home.
So that's a good question. I don't have these specific numbers, but I can give you in general.
Sure.
We do, we save over 100 dogs every year.
Okay.
So our first year we saved like 80, our second year 110. So we're over 100 every year. I would say 20% of those dogs, so roughly 20 out of 100, are hospice, remain in our forever foster program due to medical needs and or emotional needs. Mm-hmm. And then the rest, I'd say maybe 10% pass in foster care, mm-hmm. even though they're maybe not in a hospice home. Mm-hmm. And then the rest get adopted. So we do have, a handful of dogs, like, for example, we have a bonded pair of 80-pound pit bulls that don't get along with other animals, right?
Yeah.
They've been in foster for 2.5 years. They're adoptable, but they're, it's got to be the right fit and the right home. So.
And the home needs to be able to take 2 large animals.
2 large, older animals.
Older animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my Hugo is a pity mix. I mean, he's a bully mix. I've never done like the DNA on him, so I don't really know exactly what he is. He's also not great with other dogs, particularly big ones.
Yep.
He can get along with some of the little ones, except he loved his sister.
Oh,
Ruby, who passed away in 2019, but he did love. He could always get along with her.
Yeah.
So I love what you're doing, like, so much. I can't stand myself.
Oh, thank you.
I just love. What really gets me are the people out there like you who do the things in animal welfare that are often overlooked and might not even be known about.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Like, a lot of people don't realize that shelters are full of animals that have been relinquished by their owner later in life.
Correct.
And that a lot of shelters are kill, and and those animals will be prime candidates for euthanasia.
Absolutely.
And that they don't do great in a shelter environment.
Right.
We learned similar things about tall, big dogs.
Right.
Big dogs, really big dogs, those giant dogs, they do terribly in a shelter environment. Mm-hmm. And so there are organizations that, focus on that. So I just love what you're doing. I love the focus. So tell me, so say we just kill it this weekend, right? We're just doing great. Yeah. You're doing well. Our fundraiser is doing well. By the way, good. I mentioned to everybody, the fundraiser starts Monday morning and it ends Sunday at midnight. So, like I said, every single item sold on the website during the course of the fundraiser, we donate $2.50, and we have some new products on the website, which is pretty fun, that are for people who don't drink coffee, and that is a dog bowl. We have a really cute collapsible dog bowl, and we have a plushy squeezed dog toy that is in the shape of one of our coffee bags.
Cute.
We have mugs, we have hats, we have T-shirts, we have like the other stuff. So the word to be spread, and it ends at midnight on Sunday. So the word to be spread from now until then for your fan base, of which I know you have a large one because I saw what happened after your e-blast on Monday. It was fantastic.
They came through. We have the best supporters, I'm telling you. Yeah.
It's wonderful. So let's re-engage. Yeah. Get them to buy, because I don't know if you drank the coffee, but our coffee is really good.
Yes. No, I did. Trust me. I as soon as I got the bag and I got the pictures and the dogs, I made it the next day, and it's delicious. Absolutely.
It's delish coffee. It's not. We're not just about our mission, even though we love our mission.
Yeah.
We love our coffee. We love our coffee.
Yeah.
So we got to get the word out to sell, buy, so that we can have the biggest impact on your organization, Touch It Gray. But so say we did really well, and Beth and I have been at this long enough to know that, like, really well under these circumstances is up to $500. We had a few one-offs that were over $1,000, but 500 is really good, doing really well. Say we did something like that for Touchy Gray. What kind of impact would that have?
I mean, it would have a huge impact on this guy right here because we actually spend, believe it or not, for every dog that comes in, we spend an average of $1,500 per dog in medical care. And that's because we take a lot of the high risk and a lot of those that are medically needy. But for George right here, I'll be honest, most of his needs, he is going to need to be neutered. And he's been on some medication. He's going to need some follow-up vetting. So I would bet he will end up right around that $500 mark by the time it's all said and done. So yeah, we would absolutely be basically saving this guy's life. That's what that means. Yeah.
All right, Wendy.
Yeah.
That's our charge.
Yes, absolutely.
We need to get people to buy coffee, buy a mug, buy a hat. I don't care what you buy. And let's keep George alive and get him the medical care he needs. This sweet boy. Hi, George.
Very cute. Here, let me see if I can pick him up a little bit.
Oh, he's smaller than I thought, too.
He is. He's a small little guy, but he's very cute, and he's a fighter.
He is a fighter.
Named after George Foreman.
Awesome. All right, Wendy. So we will do our level best. We'll do our best job we can from now until Sunday as well. And you said spread the word, and let's get George medical care, and let's keep that elder baby alive for more years.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Claudia. Thank you, Hugo Coffee.
Thank you, Wendy, and thank you for everything you do for the animals, because I love what you do.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
You too.